He's almost 60 years old. He's Mike Tyson, but he's 60 years old. And he knew that Jake Paul couldn't do anything to him. So you knew what you were going to get.
Dana White didn't hold back when he dismissed the Mike Tyson VIPs Jake Paul fight, labeling it Showtime boxing, a swipe that summed up his view of the event as a circus rather than legitimate boxing. White saw it as a disaster waiting to happen, a legendary...
Tyson's just been beat off Jake Paul. But how? Mike Tyson's an absolute legend and one of the greatest fighters of all time. How can this YouTuber beat such a great fighter? Well, X has spoken.
Fighter matched against a YouTuber who could barely throw a punch without risking injury. The bout, hyped as a high-stakes clash, ended up feeling more like reality TV than a true test of boxing.
I mean, all the people that are, there's a lot of... In Portnoy went out and said that it was the greatest con job of all time.
Boxing skill, tarnishing the sport's integrity in the eyes of fans and pros alike. The controversy didn't just ignite on fight night. It had been simmering for days, fueled by a shocking leak. Just one day before the match, a document surfaced on X, detailing an...
Well, X has spoken. The fight was scripted. Everyone is talking about this on X, and the script was actually leaked on X a few days ago.
Alleged fight script that outlined every punch, move, and even a supposed fifth-round knockout by Tyson. This wasn't just a series of vague guesses. It mapped out the action down to specific moments. Skeptics initially dismissed it as a coincidence, but as the fight unfolded, reality began mirroring the script.
Opening bell rings, Tyson is showing flashes of his old form, which actually happened. As soon as the bell went, Mike Tyson came out with that head movement, pushing forward. Immediately, he stalks forward with his signature bob and weave style.
Script in eerie detail. Tyson's classic bob and weave opener? Check. Paul's footwork? Nearly identical to the predictions. As the fight wore on, the uncanny alignment between the script and the bout raised serious questions about whether fans were witnessing a genuine contest or an orchestrated spectacle. For those who tuned in hoping to see real...
And it was a bit of a shit show, but, what did you expect? Seriously, when you stayed home and you turned on Netflix that night, we were like, holy fuck, I'm about to see the greatest live sporting event of all time.
Competition, the script scandal left a sour aftertaste. The event quickly transformed from a boxing match into a media wildfire, with fans questioning what was real and what wasn't, and the sport left smoldering in the ashes of controversy. Then came Dana White, and he was far from silent.
So if you can keep fighting fucking 50-something-year-olds...
You don't think Tyson has a chance?
...making a living at it. I think that Mike Tyson has a puncher's chance against anybody. Mike's 58 years old. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Right. I hate doing this because Mike gets mad at me every time I do this.
UFC boss tore into the event, calling it a circus act, an insult to real athletes, and a slap in the face to boxing. His critique was scathing. This wasn't a real fight. It was a mockery of the sport. But White's frustration didn't end with the spectacle in the ring. The real issue lay in the bigger picture. Jake Paul, a social media influencer turned boxer, draws millions of viewers to each fight, while UFC champions struggle for the same level of attention. White's irritation seemed to come from the fact that exhibition boxing, and Paul's brand in particular, has overshadowed the hard-earned reputation of UFC fighters. His critique was more than a rant, it was a warning about where the sport could be headed if the
Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight.
Interesting.
Script.
How so? What do you mean by
It's just
script?
weird. It's just...
Scripted in what way?
No, I don't know. I actually really like Jake.
These trends continue. I share White's perspective. After all, what's the point of a fighter's long career?
Jake Paul, you're right, Roy. He's turning into a boxer.
Yeah, good shot by Mike.
And again, the left hook.
Good shot by Mike.
Don't measure. Referee Mark Calloy warning Paul...
Here, if a YouTuber can draw more viewership overnight. This shortcut to fame feels like a slap in the face to those who dedicate their lives to the craft. And as if things weren't already chaotic, there were questions about the fight's legitimacy. Was it staged? Was
As
Tyson
if this
in on
spectacle
it?
wasn't messy
The referees
enough, let's talk
seemed
about the fight
strangely
itself.
involved in every
Was it
exchange,
staged?
and the
Was
overall
Tyson
lack
in
of
on it?
urgency was hard.
I mean, all the people that are, you know, there's a lot of and Portnoy went out and said that it was the greatest con job of all time, and I mean, if you didn't think that that's the way the fight, I don't know what people expected.
To ignore, it all left fans wondering, were they watching a real fight or just another scripted drama? With neither fighter pushing to end the bout decisively, controversy seemed inevitable. For some, these moments were red flags hinting that something wasn't right. For others, they were simply awkward quirks in an already unusual matchup. Yet the question lingered, was this all part of the performance? Dana White's critique.
Tyson's just been beat off Jake Paul. But how? Mike Tyson's an absolute legend and one of the greatest fighters of all time. How can this YouTuber beat such a great fighter?
Critique cut through the speculation, bluntly stating that in his eyes, this wasn't a fight but pure theatre. He used this moment to highlight a broader issue, the increasing trend of prioritizing viral moments over the integrity of sports. Love him or hate him, White's fiery words added another layer of drama to an already contentious event. Then there was the script. Round 1 unfolded almost exactly as it was described in the leaked document. Tyson, with his classic bob and weave style, charged forward, forcing Jake to stay mobile. Paul, younger and more agile, relied on his footwork to create distance.
And, you know, this is what Mike Tyson, when Mike Tyson shows up, everybody makes money, you know? Jake Paul is, you know, I don't have to tell you guys, you guys know, Mike Tyson is the A++++ side of that thing.
Landing light jabs to establish control. Just as the script had predicted, for many fans, this uncanny accuracy felt like more than coincidence. But could it be that predictable? Given Tyson's age and declining performance, the slow pace seemed explainable without any script. Yet, one way or another, something felt off in this Showtime fight.
He's doing it. You know, what do I think of the Mike Tyson fight?
Yes.
Tyson's 58 years old. You know what I mean? Jake fought a guy who was his age and who was also considered a boxer, and he lost.
Leaving everyone questioning whether they'd witnessed a genuine bout or an orchestrated spectacle. Throughout the fight, Jake Paul's strategy was clear. He kept his distance, avoided risky exchanges, and relied on his youth and stamina. A knockout would have made a bold statement, but lasting...
If he wants to do boxing, why not fight guys that actually box for a living?
100%. Fight guys that box for a living and guys that are your age. How about that?
He says he wants to fight Canelo.
All 8 rounds and winning on points was enough to claim victory over a boxing legend. The narrative practically wrote itself. Jake Paul, the underdog influencer, defeats the great Mike Tyson.
As always,
Dana
hold
White
back in
didn't
his
hold
criticism
back
of
in
Paul.
his criticism of Paul.
White has long been a vocal opponent of influencer boxing, calling
White
it a
has long
spectacle that
argued
undermines
that
the
it's a spectacle
authenticity
that
of combat
undermines the
sports.
authenticity
He's
of
accused Paul of
combat
cherry-picking
sports.
opponents and
He's
relying on
accused Paul
showmanship
of
rather than
cherry-picking
true athletic
opponents and
ability.
leaning on showmanship instead of genuine athletics.
Do you think Mike Tyson would lose a fight to earn some more money? He's already getting $20 million for the fight. Does he want to do this for another $5 million or 20 million? Or how much more money would he need to get paid to actually lose the fight?
Gill. To White, this fight was yet another example of how boxing has drifted from its roots. Paul's rise, fueled by social media clout and controversy, has been a thorn in White's side, and the Tyson fight only
Olympic
added fuel
medalist
to the
Tony
fire,
Jeffries was
giving
quick to
White
point out
more
that Tyson
reason
doesn't
to
really
dismiss
need the
Paul
cash.
as a fraudulent
The man has
fighter.
a lucrative cannabis
Meanwhile,
business,
Tyson
endorsements and
reportedly
royalties
walked
rolling
away.
in.
Jake needs these guys. Jake needs Tyson and needs all these other people because that you know, everybody's going to tune in to hope that Mike Tyson knocks him out.
Right.
They're not tuning in because they think Jake Paul's a great fighter and they want to see him compete.
Mike Tyson reportedly walked away with a cool $20 million for this fight, a massive sum for a single night of work. But, as Olympic medalist Tony Jeffries pointed out, Tyson isn't exactly hurting for cash. With a lucrative cannabis business, endorsements and royalties, Tyson doesn't need the payday, which is why the idea of him throwing the fight doesn't sit well with many analysts. Why risk tarnishing his legacy for money he doesn't need? As for Jake Paul, his exact earnings aren't...
That he was making the money he says he's making, Showtime Boxing wouldn't have gone out of business and Showtime would have made sure they kept paying him.
Right.
...public, but estimates suggest he made between $10 to $15 million, including his share of pay-per-view sales. Not bad for someone who started out filming pranks on YouTube. However, for Paul, the money is only part of the prize. The real win was the boost to his brand. Defeating a boxing legend like Mike Tyson makes headlines that sell themselves. Never mind that Tyson is nearly 3 decades older, it's the optics that matter. And Jake, a master of crafting narratives that keep fans talking and paying, knows that well. So, was it all about the money for Tyson? Maybe not entirely. For Jake Paul, though, absolutely. But beyond the dollars, the real question is whether the entertainment value of the...
I don't know what people expected. You know, Mike's almost 60 years old. He's Mike Tyson, but he's 60 years old. And he knew that Jake Paul couldn't do anything to him. So you knew what you were going to get when you saw that fight. But you can't be mad. It was fucking free. We all got Netflix anyway.
Fight justified all the controversy. The answer depends on who you ask. Purists will say it was a disgrace to the sport, a cash grab disguised as competition. Fans of spectacle, however, argue it was worth every penny. Love it or hate it.
For Netflix, this thing was brilliant because you knew it was going to pull a massive number because of Mike Tyson, right? And to be fair to Jake, you're going to tune in to watch him get knocked out, hopefully, right? That's what everybody wants to see.
People watched, and that's the bottom line. Here's the harsh truth. Boxing isn't what it used to be. Once it was all about skill, grit, and the pursuit of greatness. Now it's influencer showdowns, YouTubers' spectacles, and celebrity grudge matches. The Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight is just the latest example of the sport's shift, and not everyone is happy about it. Dana White has been one of the loudest critics of this new era. To him, these fights are little more than carnival attractions, and he's not alone. Hardcore boxing fans and traditionalists see these events as a slap in the face to boxing's legacy. But, like it or not, these fights are wildly popular. People tune in, tickets sell out, and the spectacle continues. For a younger audience that values entertainment over authenticity, pay-per-view numbers soared. Matches like Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson are pure gold. Why sit through 12 technical rounds when you can watch Jake Paul trash-talk his way to a win over a legend? It's no longer about who's the best, but who can put on the best show. If the success of fights like Jake versus Tyson is any indication, boxing is entering a new era, where the lines between sport and spectacle are nearly erased. Whether that's good or bad is up for debate. The Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight wasn't just a clash in the ring, it sparked a controversy that divided fans, critics, and the sport itself. Dana White's harsh comments weren't simply about Paul or Tyson individually. They targeted what this fight represents for boxing. But let's not ignore the other side. The entertainment value was undeniable. Fans got the drama, storylines, and viral moments they crave. Yet, as influencer-driven boxing takes center stage, is it worth sacrificing the sport's soul? Can boxing find a balance between entertaining the masses and honoring its legacy of skill and competition?